Hello and welcome to this video playing a Moet Meep. Okay, we're going to go Sicilian. I need to play quicker, I need to keep more of an idea on the clock. Okay, so we end up with sort of standard type Sicilian line. I tend not to play these lines with this close setup. I try and play knight c6 and e5, so this isn't really quite to my taste. Okay, so knight b4 is definitely a move here. Knight e5 is also a move. Knight e5 looks pretty nice. Let's just try knight e5. Queen's got to go back anyway. I mean, knight g4. Where's that knight? Where's that knight going? Knight g4 or knight e5? Knight e5 here. Where's the bishop? Where's that bishop going? I'm gonna get our knight trapped here. Maybe queen c4, and then we can play. Let's go queen. If queen c7 though, knight b5. That's the problem. Okay. All right. Let's play a6, and now I can play queen c7, and then I can go and get in with knight c4. I'm not sure about this. I don't know if I can get away with knight g4. So we're gonna play that anyway. So let's just play this quickly. We were forced to move anyway, so let's not hang around. Maybe go to knight g4. I mean, I should have maybe calculated that, but just losing so many games on time that I feel like my strategy can't be quite right, and we just have to accept that I have to trade a bit of accuracy for keeping somewhat close to my opponent in terms of timing. So what about e5 now? That looks like a decent option. e5 to kick the knight. I mean, taking on f5 can't really be right because the knight just hops in. So, I mean, this is interesting anyway because knight takes e4 might be on the cards once this knight moves. I mean, that really looks right actually. Knight takes e4, and I don't really see how you're preventing me doing that. So knight takes e4. Let's see, we can pre-move the recapture. I think. Pretty much feels like you're forced to take on e4. Okay, you didn't. So why not knight takes c3, messing up the pawns. Knight takes c3, and then what other options have we got? We've got d5 here. Knight takes d5. We've got bishop f5. Bishop f5 is also a move. Why not bishop f5? Bishop f5, knight to d5. I mean, why not knight takes and then bishop takes f5? Knight takes e3, and then whatever takes on c3. Bishop f5. Why not bishop f5 now? Knight g4, knight g5. We can take that off. Yeah, I'm going to play it. Move first, look later. That's what we're going to have to. That's what I'm going to have to go for. It's not really what I want to do, but I also don't want to lose every game on time when I'm better. So, okay, so first question is if DE, then bishop rook takes f5. Now we then have got queen e4, which hits f5 and c2, and then rook f2. We can also try something like bishop to c2 is also interesting. My queen is on Pariso, so let's not go too crazy. That's the main issue here. Do we have anything? I mean, queen here, but then knight moves. If queen here, knight moves. I think we just take this off. Rook takes f5, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so queen e4, hitting the rook, hitting the c pawn. Let's go with that. There's no discovered checks. The bishop is not pinned to the queen exactly, but I mean, even here, you know, we're nearly a minute behind on the clock, despite being one pawn up, 2 pawns up, something like that. 2 pawns up with one pawn up with a good position, something like that. Bishop. Okay, so that's fine. Rook c8 looks good. What's happening here? Are there any threats? Queen g3. We can play queen g3 with a hit on this square. I I think bishop f6 looks good. I'd like to trade off this bishop on e3 actually. Bishop here, queen here. Alright, I'm going to go for that. Rook c8. Queen g3, g6. Queen g3, g6. I mean, actually, hang on. Queen g3, can we sacrifice on e3? Here takes, and then bishop c5 takes. And then we end up with a nice position. Everything comes off, but we have an extra pawn and reasonably active rook on the c5. So queen g3, queen takes c3, queen takes c3, bishop c5, pinning the queen. But what about just king f2? Okay. Let's get that in now anyway, right? Let's get that in anyway. We wanted to trade off this bishop. Bishop c5 loses now because this is actually pinned. So what's the plan now? Well, you're just going to retake with the rook, aren't you? But then I get queen takes c2. So rook takes c5 is not possible yet. Okay. But this is with check, right? So queen takes e. If rook takes, then we're going to take on c2. So this is with check. So okay, can't take here, but I think I can take on c2. I don't see a good reason not to take on c2. So let's crack on and do that. If this rook takes here, then we can take on c3. And if queen g3, rook here threatens h7. It doesn't, because we're actually on h7. So we might be able to just play rook c3. Time is equal now. Why not rook here now? Why not? Let's just try and trade. We're hitting the e5. We're hitting the queen. Our queen is protected, so we'll pre-move the recapture. Where's white going with his queen? Is he going? He can't go g3. Okay, he's just traded. So okay, this is nice now. Either you trade or I get the a pawn. Okay, I get the a pawn. Okay, let's go b5. So I need to make a space for my king, and then I can move my other rook. So rook b8, okay, yeah. Let's put this check in. Let's go back here, and then I can maybe trade off. That doesn't help me actually. Okay. Got this move, and then maybe come queen to. Let's come here. And now we're just looking at this rook. We can start to move the a pawn actually. Okay, so let's try and get a tempo here. Ugh. Alright, so there's that check. Come back. Now if you want to trade here, that's okay by me. Alright, so I'm still 2 pawns up. Now rook b. Okay, let's just force that. So the king comes up. Okay. Okay, let's try this. What's happening here? What I'm trying to do is create a weakness here. Okay. King comes up. King here. Okay, well, I feel like this must be good now, right? Am I not just getting the h2 pawn? I am. Okay, so f5 to stop g4. King moves and we take the g pawn. Okay, this is gone now. I'm finally actually going to win a game. So that is good, as long as I don't stalemate him. Yeah, so let's take the last pawn. Yeah. Not sure, you can get in, put in. So now we go check here. If king h1, it's mate, and so you go there. Now you've got a square to come out, so it's not going to be stalemate. So yeah, we've queened this one. Let's queen that one. Got 2 queens. 2 queens usually is enough. So oh, that looks like it might be stalemate. Come on, for 5 seconds. Unbelievable. Whew. Okay, good. All right. Okay, so quick recap. Yeah, this is interesting actually. This is a nice line against me because I like to play um, after d4 takes. I like to play knight f6 and knight c6 without playing e6 and then play e5 in one go. So I think when against this line, I'm actually better off doing something else, like maybe knight c6 immediately, or maybe g6. But I think e6 here just gives kind of white. Well, it's not that it gives white what it wants. It's fine. It's just it gives me a position I don't play quite as often. So black's fine here, but you know, knight f6 should be 3, should be 7. It's fine. I mean, this doesn't look right, queen d3, but I'm not sure what the best option is. My other thought was knight b4. Knight b4, queen c4. Maybe d5, that's kind of interesting. d5, ed, ed. The knight's protected. That looks like that might work as well, actually. Knight b4 looks probably slightly better, maybe, because I play knight e5, I get the tempo, but then I'm always going to be hit by this tempo on f4 anyway. So I played a6 here because my idea was I wanted to play queen c7 to cover c4 and I didn't want to run into knight b5. But I think if white just goes f4 now, then you know this knight has to come back to c6 and black doesn't make any progress. So I think f4 looks like it would be better than rook d1, queen c7, f4 came, we got in. The queen's okay now. This doesn't look right either. Maybe that's an exaggeration. It's probably okay. e5. Yeah, but I think we can take this e4 pawn actually. So if we can take e4, then f5 can't be right, and I think we can. And that doesn't look right either. I think we just need to take on e4. So knight takes c3, bc, bishop f5. Now I missed knight e5, although I think black is still better after knight e5. So is there a way of just not running into this? I mean, does it matter? d5 obviously no good. Bishop f6 is possible. Bishop f6 threatens. I mean, no, this is still on, isn't it? So d5. Oh, I don't know. Maybe f6. And basically, f5 is always going to be slightly problematic. But maybe black is okay. Maybe black's fine just taking on f5. Just trading this pawn for this pawn, because this pawn is going to be annoying. What else have I got here? I mean, bishop f6 runs into rook d6. I can play b5 and try and play bishop b7, but I actually think maybe this is okay. Okay, knight takes, we took. That's okay, rook here. Let me get this tempo on the rook. The rook comes to h5. It looks threatening, but I don't know. I mean, maybe I can just play queen takes c2 immediately, but that looks a little bit more risky. Rook c8, that was the attempt there. And again, this doesn't look right either. Yeah, so it covers this, so the sacrifice isn't on. I played bishop c5, rook here, we took the check, this is all fine, queen c2, it's good. Now, in this position, rook takes e5 looks normal, that's what you played, okay. Get this, he traded, which I don't think is maybe quite right. I think he wants to keep his queen on. c1. Yeah, I mean, we just get the a2 pawn. I think if rook back, we're still better here, but we're just too many pawns ahead here now. Here, hit this, g6, rook down. Yeah, I mean, this is a waste of time actually. I mean, if I think I should just play a5 and b4, or just b4 immediately, frankly. b4 immediately, rook here, and then if I protect, you can take on b4 because of this a pawn is pinned. So maybe just a5. I mean, we're 2 or 3 pawns up here, so it must be just a question of technique. Critical moment. Probably here, to be honest, because after white's move, black had a fairly easy position. Once we could get rid of e4. So in this position, probably most moves are better. e5. e5 looks fine. I mean, yeah, I don't know, e5 probably. It's probably fine. Maybe b3, kick the queen. b3 to kick the queen could be fine. Queen comes back to c7, and white carries on. Should be fine. Okay, thanks for watching.